from the industry through the community, right into your home. It's the Green Room, and we're on. What's going on, everybody? It's Lester from Cannabis Wiki. I'm here with our award-winning cannabis social influencer, also best-selling author with over 2 million Facebook followers and over 130,000 Instagram followers, our North American cannabis flower, drip, 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 drip. You're Jackie Childs.
Hey guys, welcome to the Green Room.
Hoorah.
Oh, so coronavirus.
It's been a long bunker down. Everybody's
Postponing all around us.
yes,
But we're gonna keep it live
hey,
and fresh and a little sticky.
we are going to follow Health Canada. That's what
So we're not gonna puff pass.
no puff pass.
We're just gonna elbow each other.
Yep, no shaking hands.
You don't have to hold the seat or I don't have to hold the seat for you while you pee anymore right now.
No.
Oh my God.
man.
he says. None of that extra closeness that we got here.
I love it. So we got a special guest today on the Green Room.
Yeah, she's my compliance friend from Seed to Sale.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is my special
I
friend?
don't know. You tell me. Why
She
not?
also has my special friend has a special friend named Tater, and he has his own Instagram, and I think he's
going viral.
the pup on pot or the pot. Yes, he's got a white. She'll tell you about that. So let's introduce her.
So guys, with no further ado, we have our special guest,
Jessica Arent. Where are you first? Are you in Florida?
I am sitting in Daytona Beach, Florida right now.
Oh, I don't like you.
We're both not your best
We're not
friend right
sitting
now.
in Daytona Beach.
You know what? I moved from Colorado to Florida, and yesterday I went outside and it was about 50 degrees, and I was like, where the hell did Florida go? Had to go inside and get a down jacket and everything. And then today, it's 84 degrees again, and Florida's back. It's bizarre.
Florida's back. So what's going on coronavirus in Florida? Crazy?
Okay, how about coronavirus everywhere? So here in the States, turns out our president is supposed to be giving us a speech right now, 3:00. And rumor has it he's going to go and tell everybody we have to shut down our businesses and shut everything down with the exception of grocery stores.
Wow.
I swear to God.
What?
Serious?
That's what it's sounding like. That's insider information. Whether or not it comes to pass, I don't know.
Wow.
It's crazy, dude. People are losing their minds. And can you please explain to me the toilet paper phenomenon?
That's what I wanted to know. We just asked a pharmacist. We're like, what's the toilet paper thing? Like, are we going to shit ourselves to death? What's happening here? Nuts.
Like, seriously, are you afraid? Like, I remember Y2K, and I remember my mother-in-law, and she was out buying cartons of cigarettes, gallons of water, and cans of tuna, but totally forgot the can opener. Y2K never happened.
Oh my God.
It's kind of that all over again, except that this has reached this insane craziness. I mean, the way people look at each other.
When someone coughs,
you would think I had crap on my face.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody wants to look at you. They're like,
you're like, stay away. Keep my social separation or
So true.
social distancing.
I'm a social pariah.
Right? It is crazy, especially if you happen to cough or sneeze or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a gal out today, and she had the sniffles yesterday. Now, I was convinced that she just didn't want to have to work. Our very last event is this afternoon. So I thought she was trying to get out of work. She sends a message last night. Should I get checked for the coronavirus? I was like, oh, stop.
Okay.
Stop.
It's those millennials. They're all going to be using the coronavirus.
You don't have to work. Shut up.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So tell us who you are in the cannabis space as
And
far
what
as
you do.
Yeah, from seed to sale. What's that about? And I call you my friend that's the queen of compliance. Let me just ask my friend Jessica about that. So what do you do? And tell us who you are.
So my handle is the Hemp Enchantress. That's not Enchantress. It's Enchantress, like Canna. I've been in the hemp space now for about 5 years. I have been in cannabis quietly for 10 because prior to this, I was knee deep in Mexico in the tequila world, and you don't go down to Mexico and tell them you're peddling the devil's lettuce. They're all Catholic there. So I had to wait.
So tequila is okay.
It became a common conversation.
Right.
long story short, I've been in the hemp space, the cannabis space now for a decade. I specialize
Damn.
in compliance. I believe in regulation and safety because at the end of the day, you're putting it into somebody you love. And
Real talk.
in most cases, we're not entirely sure where a lot of this stuff is coming from anymore, right? Everybody wants to jump on the green rush. They're like, oh, I got isolate. I can make stuff.
Right.
We have no idea what's in it, where it's coming from. Did you have peanut butter on the counter? You know, my kid has an allergy. We have seen some
It's
horrible things happen
That's true.
in the name of quote unquote alternative medicine. My plight has always been, let's get it legal. Let's get it regulated. Let's follow the rules. Let's get it to a place where I can go and get insurance for it. Hello?
Wow.
And afford it monthly.
Right.
And that's really what my focus is. So I'm super proud to say that this week my facility and my lab just got its GMP certifications. We're registering with the FDA. I mean to tell you, we're all about, and my plight is always about, do it right. I totally get you want to play ball. Please expect to spend the money. Please do it right.
Right. Yeah. And safe. Do it. We can still, do it safely. Do it right. And sometimes it takes, people don't want to take the time, the patience and the money, right? Those are the two things. Everyone wants everything immediately and they don't want to pay the price.
Immediate gratification.
But then
right?
look what happened with the vape industry.
The truth is, I had an experience this week that we talked about.
Right. Yeah. You wanted to introduce Tater and tell us about your experience with Tater.
So do your followers get to see this too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
Karen
put
is
Tater
sharing.
in the frame here. Sorry for commuting.
Right
We got
on.
stuff to do. There we go. Hey, Tater.
Tater.
Hi,
Look at him.
Tater. This is Tater time.
Right on.
So cute.
He's known as, his handle on IG is Tot on Pot.
Tot on
He
pot.
does have his own IG.
Okay.
Tater is really a unique situation. So I've always had dogs. I have a penchant for falling down for no reason. No, it has nothing to do with what I smoke and what I drink. So a few years ago when I started traveling excessively, I was told I really needed to get a service dog because when you fall down, people will step right over you in airports and public places. They don't even notice you and they'll step right on you.
Wow.
So Tater's whole job is when I go down, he sits with me and he waits. And if I can't get back up, then he on command will get me help to get somebody to help me back up.
Wow.
Also, he's a med alert. So if I'm missing my medications because I got too busy, he kind of pesters me and lets me know that I'm supposed to be medicating.
Wow.
So Tater is like with me 24/7. That's how we met, right?
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
He's a big deal.
I think Tater made a beeline for you. He thought you were pretty because he's a big fat flirt.
Came flying over high.
Right? He was like, hey, what's up? So Tater's always with me. And so this is where we get into the safety situation. I was baking fully loaded cookies this week. I have somebody in my life that is battling cancer. The cookies help her sleep.
Okay.
I made a lot of cookies and I make the cookies and then I put them on the dining room table and I count them out and then I cool them down. And I was super, super tired and really annihilated because this particular batch wasn't quite right. So I kept tasting.
The batch wasn't quite right. So I kept eating them.
So I was pretty lit. I will not lie. And which is odd because usually edibles don't hit me too hard. So I remember going to bed, I thought I put the dog in the crate, but I don't think I did because the next morning, my husband gets up and leaves at about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. He comes into the bedroom to say goodbye, to wake me up. And he puts his hand down at the foot of the bed. And of course, the first thing he says is, I think the dog crabbed the bed.
Oh, shit.
And I went, no, turn on the light. And he turns on the light and the dog is lying in vomit.
Oh, man.
And initially it looked like it was dog food vomit, but it had a very familiar scent to it. It was kind of sweet, but I wasn't registering.
Like
keep in mind, I need like 3 espressos to get going in the morning. So
she's like, what the hell?
Like this foggy moment. And I reached down to pick up the dog because I'm going to take the dog out and I'm, checking the dog. And as I'm picking Tater up, his whole head drops back. his eyes roll back into his head and he starts to convulse. I don't think I've ever moved so fast.
Oh my God.
I scooped him up and we ran for the emergency vet. And while we're running for the emergency vet, I'm inside my head going, okay, I had FDA and USDA inspections this week. We used all kinds of things to clean. Did he get into a cleaner? Blah, blah, blah. You know, you're in your head.
Right.
So
Jesus.
we also have this weird phenomenon of these weird looking frogs here. And if the dog, like, I didn't believe people. If the dog licks the frog, the dog's dead. And I was like,
oh,
shut up.
shit.
That's not real. But it turns out it is.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, where was the frog? And I'm, again, still in my head. We get to the vet and he's kind of starting to perk up. We put him down on the table. Mind you, he hasn't been on his feet yet. We put him down on the table. His whole back end goes out from under him. He's paralyzed.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay, so you have to know that my panic level is now through the roof because I love this dog. I hope my children aren't watching, but I love this dog, I think, more than my kids right now. So
I'll send this to
they're
them.
millennials in their 20s. What are you going to do? So
Wow.
So the vet comes in and we're running through it. Could he have gotten into medication? Could he have this? Could he have that? And as he's running through it, my husband looks at me and he says, cookies.
Oh,
and
all
I
the
go,
cookies
what?
you made.
And he goes, cookies. The cookies on the dining room table. So, of course, I scoop up the dog and sniff the dog. And I go, he smells like cookies.
Oh.
So I ask the vet, I say to the vet, what are the chances this is going to be a response from THC? And the vet said, well, to be honest with you, when you first walked in the door, given the signs of the dog, that was our first inclination. But looking at you as a couple, we didn't suspect that you would have that kind of thing.
Oh, right.
So I say, well, I'm in the business, blah, blah, blah. I explain myself, obviously. And I say, I think it's possible he got into food, edible. So what they ended up doing was they literally pumped out his stomach. They put a saline pack between his shoulder blades under the skin that is time released, and they shoved a ton of charcoal down his throat.
Oh my God.
It took 12 hours to resuscitate, to bring the dog back to some level of normality, if you will.
Wow.
I took the dog home, put the dog in a crate, and was checking on that dog every 15 minutes like clockwork.
Oh, I'm sure.
The dogs, now I've since learned, having had several conversations with veterinarians around the country now that specialize in this, the dogs hold most of their receptors in the brain.
Okay.
So the THC locks onto the lipids and the fats in the brain. He literally was on an overdose.
Oh my God. It was like, oh my God.
And what happens is it slows their heart rate way down. It slows the blood pressure way down. When they went to take his blood pressure initially, we couldn't find a heartbeat.
Oh my God.
It was so low. So what I learned was that THC really is toxic for canine.
Definitely.
It's just, and this is why the veterinary world has been so against CBD and so against engaging, because they don't know, even at our compliance allowances here in the States at that 0.3, they don't know what that impact is going to be on a Chihuahua versus somebody's, I don't know, Cane Corso.
Right.
So this was an incredible lesson for me, a very hard one learned.
This is a new one for me.
Yeah, this and I tell you what, like when you're going through it and you're the mom in the equation, which you are, it's this race in your mind because you're against the clock. What did I do? What happened? What did he get into? An animal can't tell you how it's feeling.
Right. He's showing you.
When I got home and I did the whole count, he had eaten 5 cookies.
And how, oh my God.
Man.
And how much THC?
And I'm going to guess, I'm not had them tested, but I'm going to guess that they're somewhere about 100 milligrams apiece.
Boom.
Oh my God. He's little.
So that little dude had
the Cocker Spaniel.
500 milligrams of good to good.
Yeah.
The dude was ripped.
Like big time.
And what's funny is that grown men, 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, eat my cookies, and they'll tell you, I can't eat the whole cookie. I hallucinate. I wake up in the middle of the night. The walls are talking to me, right? It does have a psychotropic effect, especially in an edible, because it's locking onto the enzymes, and then it's releasing out through the fat system.
Right.
So it's going to lodge through the brain and create a psychotropic effect. So
Damn.
Wow, that poor
yeah,
little guy.
it's crazy. So my husband, this is a great correlation. I can eat edibles all day long. I don't feel a thing. Nothing. Nothing.
Wow.
It's crazy. My husband is a foot taller. His bone structure is probably 2/3 denser than mine.
Mm-hmm.
He weighs exactly 100 pounds more than I do. I can eat 100 milligrams, feel nothing, run around the world, and get my stuff done. He can't do 10 milligrams before he's telling me the walls are talking to him, because everybody's endocannabinoid system and metabolism is completely different from everybody else's.
Right.
So it stands to reason that in an animal, when it's lodging through the brain, it's going through that system, it's going to send your pet into
Oh,
the
God.
world's trippiest space.
Oh.
The aftermath is what's really fascinating. For the last 48 hours since this happened, I have a much calmer dog. He's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. He used to like bark at people because he wanted to say hello so badly. Now he's like, listen, if you say hi, we're good.
He's not saying or doing anything.
If you don't, it's all good, right? He's afraid of a lot of things all of a sudden.
Wow.
Oh.
Like everything
Sketchy.
is scaring him right now.
He went on a really bad trip.
He was on a really bad trip.
Wow. What's the long term?
That
Do we
sucks.
know long term effects? Do
That
we
sucks.
know? We just know that he's going to be quiet and tired for a few days, or?
Yeah, we don't know. So he's going to be a really interesting study. We go back to the vet next week to make sure that he's, got a clean bill of health.
Mm-hmm.
So you do
we don't know.
You do use CBD on your dog, though, don't?
Absolutely.
So
do.
tell me
this
about
is-
that.
Again, if you combine CBDs, the cannabinoids out of the hemp plant, and it's not just the D, it's all of those cannabinoids, they're going to counter what the THC does, because THC is a natural psychotropic.
Right.
So those cannabinoids balance and bring that down. If you're going just straight for a THC, you don't have that balance, right?
Right.
So he's normally on roughly 3.3 milligrams of full spectrum CBD every day.
How come?
Because I have always had rescue Cocker Spaniels, and they've never lived past 9.5, 10 years because they have all kinds of systemic problems and breeding issues.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure that I had a long-lasting, very healthy dog. So from day one at 8 weeks, he started getting the drops. He gets them every single day. He's probably the healthiest, smartest, most focused animal I have ever had.
Yeah, he's
Damn.
and he goes to all the big conventions and everything with you. He's with you.
Yeah, he
There's
goes everywhere.
thousands of
So
people
he's
all
going
around.
to Bike Week in Daytona this afternoon. He's going to hang out with all the bikers.
Oh, I'm so
yeah.
jealous.
He gets into all the best bars. He goes to all the best nightclub openings. Dude's got a good life.
Dude's got a good life. Mama's always got
does.
cookies.
He cruises dispensaries with me. He is amazing. He's the best dog I've ever had. And I fully believe that a lot of that cognizance, a lot of that focus has everything to do with the daily supplement.
Wow.
So let's get into what you do.
Yeah. So tell us about a little bit more about you, who you work for, what do you do? And so when you're going around, why are you going around? Where are you going around? Who are you?
So I kind of do a lot of things, like 14 things, like a Jamaican man.
14 things.
Did you ever see that in Living Color? What do you do? 14 tins, man.
Everyone
Welcome
quotes
to
it.
America.
Everyone
Oh,
quotes in Living
shit.
Color.
So, let's see. I'm the hemp enchantress, so I'm a personality in the space. I am motivational, inspiring, stay positive kind of a gal. I don't know if you follow me, but if you've seen my recent videos, they go, listen, stop panicking over coronavirus. Here's my corona log for today.
My corona log.
It's corona log.
Holy shit.
She also
I
really
swear,
likes
when this is over, I'm gonna do the canalogs and corona log, and I'm gonna write this for its stage because I think it's gonna take off like crazy. It'll be like vagina monologues, but it's the canalogs and the
corona
logs.
logs.
Oh my God. I love you.
So I am the head of compliance, so chief compliance officer That sounds really fancy, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
For Cannabidiol Life, we are a full spectrum brand of products owned by Holy Hemp. So that's our corporate name. Cannabidiol Life is one of our brands. That's the brand that I oversee presently. It's a full spectrum brand.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on cannabidiollife.com. I also own Promesa Hemp, Promesa Hemp. Promesa in Spanish means promise. And I'm a consultant in this space. So anything that you need from the seed to the sale, I'm kind of your go-to girl. And I developed that based on a premise in the way that I built my tequila business, which was surround yourself by all the smartest, best players in the room that have integrity and character, and do business with them.
Right.
So Promesa Hemp is built on the best farmers in the country, the best legal teams in the country, the best security teams in the country, anything, branding, marketing, anything that you need. We write business plans, pro formas, anything that you want to do in this space. We kind of create a fast track guideline for you so that you can kind of mesh through the bog and the quagmire, because as you know, in this industry, it's full of a lot of BS.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Not everybody is what they say they are.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah. Go figure.
So are you limited to just the United States, or are you globally?
I am global. I just
Not
stepped
right
off
now.
of my position as the Ethics and Compliance Chair for the World CBD Awards. I was part of that inaugural team last year.
Nice.
I may go back to it next year. I had to take a hiatus this year.
Why? Why?
I write, so I am penned and published in the Hemp Connoisseur magazine. Last year, I wrote an article called MJ2 that addressed a lot of what is going on in inappropriate hiring practices and employment practices, and some of the dangers of being both male and female actually in this industry. And so that hashtag was MJ2. And then I wrote another piece that outlined the 2018 Farm Bill, and brought everybody up to date because, people needed it.
Right.
She laughs.
What do you mean I can't operate from 2014? So I'm really kind of everywhere. I speak publicly, and my abstract and my platform is always on compliance and safety. And I really illustrate in those events what's really going on at the big major corporate labs, manufacturers in the country. Not everything is what it seems or what it appears.
Yeah.
And it is all predicated on my first 3 months in this industry that was chocked full of sexual harassment, verbal abuse, some incredible thievery and con jobs, and all belonging to one of the biggest companies in the game.
Wow.
And it was a hard introduction to a new industry. But I'll tell you what, on day 89, I was like, see ya, I got this, bye.
I got this without you. Wow.
That's
I mean,
big.
we had a conversation at a convention, and we were standing on one side. There was like a big corporate looking situation happening, and the guys were well dressed, and the thing was all put together nice. And then the other side, we had bags of CBD hemp from the floor to the ceiling, bunch of young guys rolling weed, whatever, talking about the millions of dollars they had, and these guys over here trying to find investors and da-da-da. We were standing right in the middle of it all saying, what are these people doing wrong? Well, you know what these people are doing wrong? These people are playing by the rules. These people are not. So how do we know? Like, it was snake oil. So the billionaire was the guy with the snake oil, and the guy that was exactly, and the guy that was for real and had all his testing and all his licensing and it had education and was there to find more investors. He was struggling. And over here on the other side, we lost her. Oh, you're back. Yeah. Over on the other side was the guys that were snake oil. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
It's really interesting because the guys that are peddling the snake oil are looking for the biggest bang on the buck.
Right.
And another example is, I think I might hold the record for the shortest consulting job ever on the planet. I was fired in 5 days' time.
Why? What happened?
Damn.
Tell us. Can you tell us a bit of what happened?
Yeah. I was hired to source product for a franchise store model that they had going. And they really wanted me to go out and source the product. And when we initially sat down to talk, I gave them the ins and outs and said, listen, you can go with the isolate model, you can go with the broad model, you can go with the full model. Here are your price points, here are the differences, blah, blah, blah. We want to be the best of the best. We want to be luxury. We want to be educated. We want you to write the training manuals. We want you to teach our teams, blah, blah, blah. Okay, awesome. And we want you to procure product. So I started going out procuring product and finding the brands that I really enjoyed and loved that I knew were being done properly. And they started getting all these samples and their price lists. And then it came down to, how much is this going to cost me? They tried to play for 10% over cost on every single one of these manufacturers. And tried to pull this, listen, I'm going to be so big. I got 100 stores already lined up in the first 6 months. We're going for 250 by the end of the year. We're going to be in every state, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back to a couple of other brands and I said, I don't feel good about this because value is value. And holding your value is key. Now that we're starting to parse out, you know, the low end to the high end, right? So it's the difference between I'm going to local Walgreens or the convenience store to pick up a lip gloss because I'm desperate, and I'm going to Nordstrom's to get my beauty gloss, right?
Right.
So I was fired because I wasn't willing to fight the brands for the numbers being procured. And when I went back to the table and I said, listen, you're asking for an isolate model that you want to upcharge to your consumer at a luxury rate. So basically you want Pabst Blue Ribbon for, I don't know, champagne. What the hell?
Yeah.
Damn.
Which earned me you're not looking out for my best interest, you're fired, thanks, bye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Shit.
Was this in Colorado?
Thanks for playing.
Was this in Colorado? Was this in Florida?
Well, he's a billionaire because he wants to make all the stuff cheap and then he wants to charge you 6 times.
Yeah, crazy.
Jesus.
And that's that model. And the kid that's out doing it right, and the kid that's spending the money at $400 a pop to get the test done right, that kid is going to come out on top eventually. I believe that. I believe in the underdog. You know, we see a lot, and this was my biggest thing at that show we met at, and I don't want to say what show it was, but every single one of those farmers was selling cannabis, not hemp.
Why? Was it over the 0.3, or is that how you explain that to me?
Wow.
Explain how that was cannabis and not hemp.
The loopholes
So
here.
the classification under the U.S. Farm Bill 2018, if it is over 0.3 THC, that means 0.31, 0.32, 0.4, that's cannabis, period. You're drug trafficking, and it is jail time. Make no mistake about it.
Wow.
So, you know, that show was really hard for me because I hate being the bitch in the room at every turn.
I don't mind
And
being
these
the bitch.
guys, and I get it. You know, you spent a fortune to do the grow, but why were you going for such high genetics in the first place?
Right.
If you're going to go for the high genetics, you're going to pull the THC up, and those levels are going to be off the charts. You don't have a license for that. You aren't permitted for that. If you're going to be permitted to grow cannabis, go grow cannabis.
Right.
Hemp is hemp. And we have no definitive line in that right now. We have everybody out. It's tombstone.
Yeah.
And
What do you mean?
I can't tell you how often I have a farmer get up in my face, yelling and screaming and carrying on. It's compliant. You're an idiot. It's compliant. No, I'm not an idiot. It's really basic. THCA and THC together cannot exceed 0.3. Anything after that, and you're drug trafficking.
Right.
The Wild West. And actually, that's what I used when I came back home to Canada. I described the states as the Wild West. I said it's really we are really tight with our rules and compliance and what's what and who can sell what and who can, you know, where it can be and how far it can be from a school and all this whatever. Yes, cannabis is legal, but that doesn't mean we're the Wild West. We have a lot of rules and a lot of to stay within compliance and regulation and to keep people safe. Because it is our medicine, right? It's being used as medicine.
I think the difference here, to be honest with you, is that, Jackie, you're in a country in which it's national.
Right.
And we're in a country where we go state to state. This state is legal cannabis. This state is legal hemp. Not all states have the same legal compliance allowances in the hemp model. Because if you go to a state like North Carolina, you have to be down less than 0.2 or 0.1, if I remember correctly.
Damn.
Every state is different because we've allowed for states' rights. When we go national, I expect it's going to be like Canada, and if it's not, I'm moving to Canada because I can't deal with it.
I'm looking at the weather. You might second guess that statement. I can take.
Okay. My husband's always wanted to go to Banff, and I've always told him to go get a lover for that.
Oh, snap.
My husband loves Banff. Maybe the two of them can go off, and you and I can. We can drink tequila in Florida.
Yeah, you come sit at the beach with me. We'll watch the dolphins.
You guys are so bad.
I'm jealous that you're going to Daytona Beach. Is the Cabbage Patch still around?
Oh my God, I drive by the Cabbage Patch every single day, twice a day, dude.
Oh my God, I love it. Really? That was.
You gotta come visit. The Cabbage Patch is like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh wow, that's quite a place for. Oh right, it's Friday the 13th. It's the Cabbage Patch.
So what is What is the Cabbage Patch?
Well,
It's like Biker Haven. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It sits on a quadrant where there are 4 different camping sites. It's the host for Daytona Bike Week and Daytona bike stuff, because they're all motorcycle car fanatics. And the Cabbage Patch is a dive bar. They graffiti all over the outside of this building. It's a funky place, and it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's a Cabbage Patch.
and the owner passed away 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The original owner. Yeah, it was also it was a place where bikers from all over the world would go. And
So was Friday the 13th a big thing there?
yeah.
I'm about to find out because I left really early this morning.
Oh yeah, it's a
Okay.
big thing at the Cabbage Patch.
I'm a Florida transplant, so everything here is completely new for me. I'm from, originally from California. Then I was in Colorado for 10 years, and now I'm in Florida. My friends are like, "What'd you go to Florida for? You're Jewish. You're too young." And I was like, prematurely getting ready to die.
Getting ready. Yeah, I'm just getting ready.
Okay, and in Florida, here's the phenom, right? In California, every corner has a nail salon.
All right.
In Colorado, just about every corner has a dispensary. And in Florida, every corner has a funeral home.
Wow.
Oh no. Wow. Is cannabis legal in Florida?
Cannabis is medically legal in Florida. You have to have a card.
Okay.
So very few dispensaries. But
That's
ironically,
funerals.
I'm going out to speak at a retirement home. They average age 75 and 80, and every single one of these people that have found out and know that I'm coming to speak at this retirement facility have sent me a private message and asked if I could please bring that wacky tobacco samples.
Oh.
Not the CBD stuff. They want the real shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
you want the real. I had a dinner with a lady who was in her late 70s. I was with her daughter, and
awesome.
she said, "Do you have any edibles?" And I said, "Oh, you mean like the CBD hard candies I have?" She goes, "No, the kind that get you high." And she was 77 years old. She's like, "I mean the real kind." So I was
They all
like,
want it. So I'm going to go get stoned with your grandma.
wow. That's fun.
I like it.
Well,
Wheelchair races with joints.
I'm glad your tater tot is fine and he's okay. And that was a
Thank
scary
you.
video. Like that was really, I saw lots of people sharing it and I was like, what the heck? What happened to Tater? And yeah, that was pretty scary. And I don't know.
He went viral. So Tater does these fun little videos. If you tune into IG or Facebook or whatever, we have a little app so we can make Tater talk. No, sorry. When we're real and in person, I cannot make him talk. I cannot believe how many people ask me, can you make him talk? But we have this great app. Tater will go into the app and he will teach things like how THC affects his system or what CBD will do inside his body or my body or the responses, etc. Sometimes he tells stories about, anxious Stanley, who's a Great Dane that pees on him every time he sees him.
Anxious
And I was going to go
Stanley.
get him some CBD. But Tater is a great training tool because Tater is relatable.
Right.
For sure.
Tater makes it very relatable. It's not education so high that it's unattainable that you can't wrap your head around it. And it's not dumbed down to such a place that it's crayons. It's this great, easy, approachable way to learn about it without feeling like you're an idiot in the midst of it, right? He's
Right.
just a great training tool.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
It's
Right
really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that you guys will be legal state to state someday?
I think, to be honest with you, looking at what's going on around us, so if you look at where you're sitting in Canada with regard to your legal legalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, but Mexico
Yeah.
will announce in October. So she was supposed to be ready by March with her regulations. They asked for extensions. She will release the laws by October. And I promise you this, any part of the plant will be legal.
Wow.
Whether it's recreational or medical in Mexico will be legal.
Wow.
So now we have Canada on one side and we have Mexico on the other side. Do you really think my administration is so stupid that they wouldn't just say, listen, let's pull the trigger. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
Hello.
They're kind of stupid.
Well,
right?
Well, Americans really are kind of stupid. Listen,
just
the
kidding.
the insanity around the coronavirus. So people are like, well, do you have masks? Are you ready? Do you have your plan? I'm like, dude, I got an entire drawer full of D-cup bras. We got masks for days.
I got masks for days.
Oh, man.
I got some D-cup bras. We're good.
Jess is wild.
Jess, thank you for coming in. I mean, I'm sure we'll have you back to talk about some compliance or some questions that come up. I mean, I was concerned about THC in pets. We hear a lot about it. I go to a lot of these markets and the snake oil or whatever it is there. People will have a pet product with THC in it, and I get nervous. There's, they're like, oh, here, let me give it to you. We'd love your puppy who's 7.5 pounds to have this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It is really dangerous.
Really
Dogs
dangerous.
do not process the same way that we do, and they can't. And the problem is your dog or your cat cannot tell you what's wrong. And if you're not on it or on top of it, it's a problem. You know, we see lots of kids that are like, ha, 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 drink my bong water, dog. My dog loves the bong water. You're killing your dog.
Yeah.
Right.
This is when you really are frying brain cells. They cannot handle what you're shoving down them. Don't blow smoke in your dog's face. Don't give them the bong water. For God's sakes, guard your cookies.
Guard your cookies.
Yeah, don't be complacent about it, because I was complacent. My guilt, okay, I'm Jewish, so I'm naturally predisposed to guilt anyway, but man, it was off the charts because I really thought that I had seriously damaged my animal and I had gotten complacent. It was stupid for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm glad
Lessons
Tater's
learned.
It was
lessons
a
learned.
good lesson learned and shared with everybody. So that was the huge thing about it.
Thanks for stopping by the green room. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you too. Have fun in the Cabbage Patch.
Stay warm, for Christ's sakes.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Man, she's got the heat.
Yeah, I love her. She's a really good speaker, and she's interesting and fun to watch. And her little tater, people love that dog.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And like she said, cannabis conversations is really, we just need more conversations. More people don't know. They don't know what's out there. They don't know what's going on. They don't know where to turn. She has these little videos with Tater. Her
500 milligram eating bad boy.
Yeah. Jesus. Can you imagine what that would do to Budsy?
Nope.
Like seriously.
Explode.
Wow. Budsy's still eating cat poo though, so.
Oh man.
He's getting his throats. Look at your face.
That was just a little too much.
Oh God.
I like that little guy.
Yeah, we don't
right
keep him around a
now
little
you're
bit.
gonna have me looking at him like that little mother.
I know. Just don't let him stick his tongue down your throat. It's been in the litter box.
All right, guys. You know where cannabis talk is always fresh and a little bit sticky. Keep it locked. Cannabis Wiki, the green room.
Thanks.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye, Lester. We're still here. See you guys.
Bye.